Careful, you're being washed away. Oh, thank you, Frankie. I hadn't noticed. Hello, humans of the world. I'm Dawn of the World. Welcome aboard. So I kind of messed up. Being away from my shooting setup for as long as I was, I didn't release a video about my thoughts concerning recent chapters until mere hours before chapter 1049 released. This resulted in me releasing a video entitled "It's Not Over Yet," when in fact it appears to be very much over. I've never had a video become so redundant so fast. Further hit home by the video's abysmal performance, but you live, you laugh, you love, you learn and move on. And after a week, I'm going to entitle this video right here, "Never mind, it actually is over." And that's going to be funny. So, you know, it's worth it. Now jumping straight into the chapter, we're basically thrown into a long-awaited flashback surrounding Kaido, and concerning the montage-esque execution of this flashback, we are definitely missing multiple gaping pieces in here, meaning that while he may have been defeated, Kaido's significance in One Piece is not over yet. So yes, in some sense I was right, and it is still not over yet. For one thing, where did Kaido come from? This flashback didn't even touch on him being of the Oni race at all. And I feel as though that's going to be some kind of an important plot point. If you've seen any of my previous chapter discussions, you may be aware of the theory I'm building that Kaido is from not Elbaf, but a certain realm of which Elbaf is one part. I won't elaborate this time because I want to do a whole separate video on that, so keep your eyes peeled and your minds open. But regardless of where Kaido, a member of the Oni race, hails from originally, he wouldn't have been there long, if at all, because at only a mere 10 years of age, he's already a soldier in a kingdom dominated by humans, and in my opinion, he speaks as though he's not from the kingdom originally, but as though he is some kind of outsider, temporarily stationed there or passing through. The Marine's anecdotes shortly after this prove that he has been caught by them in the past, meaning that he likely passed through other parts of the sea before winding up in Vodka Kingdom. It seems like there's already somewhat of a parallel between his and Big Mom's childhoods, as they seem to have both been let go by separate parties for being too strong and difficult to handle. So where Big Mom was a more non-explicit, almost victim of child trafficking, Kaido was very obviously a child soldier from the get-go here. And while that's not something justifiable, Vodka Kingdom seems to be a place very much in disarray, another victim of the world government's tyranny that has been driven to such desperate measures as utilizing a 10-year-old as a soldier. Given the young age that he was, in combination with his strength, I am inclined to believe that the Marines were intent on capturing him not so much as a typical prisoner, but maybe on behalf of the world government with hopes that they could utilize him in Cypherpol. Because that's just the kind of that they pull, and it seems like multiple parties wanted to take advantage of Kaido's young age to weaponize his strength one way or another. Anyway, after a few years of being caught on purpose just so he could be fed, which is equal parts funny and sad, because was that this child's only way to access food? I mean, clearly he was strong enough to get it through other means, but maybe at the end of the day, he just enjoyed the thrill of the chase. Anyway, after a few years, he ends up on the radar of the Rocks Pirates, and for whatever intention, takes the offer to join them. So he joins them at 15, the God Valley incident happens when he's 19, so he's with them for 4 years. Maths. But what I really want to know is, girl, who is that? Like, that silhouette, is that who I think it is? For real though, why has this person been blacked out? If not the king of snipers, could this be an Elbathian giant or Whitebeard, even though we saw him properly back there? But they don't look quite big enough nor emit the right kind of energy to be, I think, either of those. Not to mention they're blotted out in a way that Oda only tends to reserve for people he doesn't want to fully reveal yet, because he hasn't introduced them, or because he wants to make them somewhat of a mystery. One way or another, Oda doesn't want to reveal this character's whole identity just yet, which makes me think another thought, and that is this Rocks? As in Rocks D. Zebek? Because it might be, and if it is, then this one panel has significantly altered the image of Rocks D. Zebek that I've had in my mind for all of this time. Completely alters my image of the kind of captain and the kind of character he was. Slash is, because on one hand my mind thinks, what kind of a captain just impulsively barges in on his crew like, hey guys, we're going here? And then it dawns on me that there is a very prominent character in the series who just happens to be a captain who absolutely would and absolutely has done that. If it turns turns out Rox was a chaotic and impulsive creature of a captain, driven by the concepts of adventure and freedom, that would draw a very keen parallel between him and Luffy, something possibly further linking them if they do turn out to be related. However, where there could be parallels, there could also be subversions, where the Straw Hat Pirates are often likened to a family and are shown to have deeply strong relationships and bonds, something often attributed as one of their biggest strengths and the reason they've survived as a crew for so long. The Rocks Pirates did it a bit differently. They seem to have a bit of a different arrangement going on, something built a little bit less on trust and something built a little bit more on peril and on backstabbing, which seems to have attributed to their downfall. Which is a bit sad because we all know that what Whitebeard really wanted was a family, and Big Mom went on to conceive her own family as well, wishing to rely on them above anyone else. Could it be the case that the unspecified reason that a 15-year-old Kaido accepted Rox's offer to join his crew was because of years after capture and escape, all he really wanted was a family of sorts as well? And who better to settle with than a group of people who were just as monstrous as himself, and therefore wouldn't use him as this bargaining chip that other people and places already had? This would kind of help explain the bitterness he's expressed around being accepted by humans as well, which he's been projecting onto Yamato, who from what we know is the only family that he has. The Straw Hats' interpersonal bonds with one another, the trust and faith they have in each other, part of what makes them such a formidable force, seem to be something not only fairly rare but also yearned for by even the most powerful people on the sea. It just all goes to show that while a strong devil fruit isn't enough to conquer the seas, you need Haki as well. A strong pirate crew also isn't enough to conquer the seas. You need the power of friendship. I say that like I'm mocking, but I'm honestly not. I'm a One Piece fan. I unironically love the power of friendship. But anyway, the other question that this panel raises for me is why? Why did the Rocks Pirates need to get to God Valley? You see what I mean? Empty spaces everywhere throughout Kaido's flashback. We definitely have not seen the last of him, folks. Also, just because it needs to be said, young Kaido could get it. Anyway, as I've been saying, we definitely haven't seen the last of Kaido due to the sporadic nature of his flashback here, among other reasons, but what is going to be so interesting now is to see how and what a role he is going to play from here on in the series. Because in Kaido's own words, Joy Boy is the man who'll be able to beat me one day, and Luffy has just become that man. Not only does this further contextualize the "you couldn't be Joy Boy either" line, it holds some intriguing implications as to what Kaido may do next. When Kaido said "you couldn't be Joy Boy either," he looked disappointed at the fact and at himself for indulging a dream he may have given up on long ago. When he said Joy Boy is the man who will be able to defeat me one day, he looked hopeful and inspired, which is a mood that seems to have died for Kaido long ago, and yet Luffy is out here rekindling not only the dreams of the people of Wano, but the dreams of Kaido, his enemy. This just confirms all the more to me that Kaido wants Joy Boy to appear, he wants to be defeated, and that he's a gatekeeper for Joy Boy. Not in a restrictive, none shall pass sense, but in the I'll make sure that you are worthy sense. And that from here on out, while I wouldn't say that he'd play the role of a friend exactly, a guide or an enabler could be very much on the table. Luffy, Joy Boy, whichever you want to go with, he's out here making dreams come true. As Wano Citizen A wishes, he's vanquishing the scary dragon. As Wano Citizen B wishes, through his actions, he's allowing the Kozuki clan to be restored. Even as Kaido himself wishes, he has kicked Kaido's ass. All Kaido ever wanted was for somebody to kick his ass. Where Luffy is freeing all of the citizens of Wano from their slavery, I can't help but feel that through defeating Kaido, he is also freeing Kaido from something invisible that has bound him all of his life. Or at least from when he was that 10-year-old child soldier chained up. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what Kaido does from here. Also, I noticed how both Kaido and King's last thoughts involved each other. And I just thought that was really nice. I mean, they deserve to be defeated and taken down and all that, but it was still a very nice touch. Like, I think I said this before, but while the both of them have this sort of lone wolf, lonely at the top, last of their kind type of energy, they are both clearly what I would class as friends, and I'm really glad that they have each other. But at the end of the day, what really made this chapter for me was the glimpse into the untapped chaotic streak of Jinbei and of Raizo, I guess, through the necessary but intense moment of flooding Onigashima. Is this gonna become like a trait of Jinbei's? Just like going really intense and all out? Like there was that time on Whole Cake Island island with Luffy and Nami in the book with the fire, and now there's all this Onigashima with the water. Is Jinbei the kind of man who would set the entire house on fire just to get rid of a spider? You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Also, just seeing Onigashima now on the ground outside the flower capital kind of gave me the chills. They were up in the sky for longer than I've been YouTubing, so that really kind of felt like a milestone moment for me. I'm so excited to see what happens next, but alas, we do have a break next week. That being said, I do have some theories and discussion lined up, so be sure to subscribe to stay in the loop for that. I'm Dawn of the World, and I will see you next time. Later, guys. Oh, by the way, where are you going, mate?